Hi, my name is Amy from IEC 509, and today I'm going to be discussing mitochondrial disease, specifically its manifestation in early childhood and implications for early childhood educators. But with this, I wanted to capture the most important points about mitochondrial disease and implications for the classroom for you to take with you when you join the workforce. To start, I will define mitochondrial disease. It is a progressive, incurable group of diseases characterized by dysfunction within the mitochondria of the cell that leads to deficits in energy production, life-sustaining energy production. To better understand mitochondrial disease, it is important to understand what a mitochondria is. Some of us have heard that from cellular biology class in college or basic biology in high school, and some of us have never heard of mitochondria at all. Well, today you will. Mitochondria are like the power plants of the cell. Here is a model of a human cell. Inside is the nucleus. It's kind of like the brain. And these other little guys in here, these three little pill-shaped forms, are the batteries of the cell. It is their job to take the oxygen that we breathe in and the food that we eat, the nutrients, and turn that in through cellular respiration and cellular metabolism. It turns that into ATP energy that powers 90% of all body functions. So we're not just talking about energy here for a child to run and play, but truly life-sustaining energy. Every heartbeat, every breath, and every thought requires ATP in some way. So, now that we know what mitochondria are and we know what mitochondria disease is, a group of diseases that are progressive and incurable that cause deficits in energy production, let's think about how how early childhood educators are implicated with that. So, in putting together this paper, I thought a lot about what that means. First of all, let's think about how mitochondrial disease is invisible. It's often invisible, meaning that sometimes you can't tell which child is very, very ill and which child isn't. To illustrate that, I have a couple pictures. Please look at the first picture. Other than being really cute, can't really tell much about that little guy there. And look at this picture. And this guy's really cute too. But you can tell that his face is kind of drooping, his eyes are drooping. That's hallmark in mitochondrial disease when there is facial involvement or when there's severe fatigue. And again, he's kind of bent over at the waist, he's posturing his arm, he's kind of digging his toes into the ground there for some stability. So obviously, we want to say, well, that child has mitochondrial disease and the first child doesn't. When in fact, this is the same little boy. One's a good day and one's a bad day. So this idea of invisibility really is true. That's my little boy. He has mitochondrial disease, which is why it was so important to me to learn more about mitochondrial disease. I knew some about it, but I wanted to learn a whole lot more about it so I could spread awareness since we were doing this YouTube video, and also to really think about how how early childhood educators are implicated by this idea of perhaps that we will have children with mitochondrial disease or energy deficits in our classroom. Toby started preschool this year, and we're trying to get through it. He's having some struggles with the fatigue and with the illness, but he's getting through it and he's enjoying it. So I started thinking about how could his early childhood education experience be better, and what is really valuable about that experience now that I could share with you so that you could perhaps use those strategies in your classroom. First of all, I will share with you that one of the most important things, and probably my #1 recommendation about not only mitochondrial disease, but really any illness that a child in your classroom may have, if you can go to the parent when they say to you, perhaps like I did to Toby's teacher, I don't want to bombard you with information, is this too much information? And she looked at me and said, anything you can tell me about Toby will be helpful to me because I want to know everything I can about what's going on with Toby. That put me at such ease. That really is my #1 recommendation. We can't learn about every single rare disease out there. I love that we're learning about some in this class, but we can't learn about all of them. Most importantly, we need to be open as educators, as early interventionists, as caregivers, to say, hey, whatever is going on in my classroom this year with my kids, I'm going to learn something about it, and I'm going to make sure the parents know that I'm learning something about it. Secondly, whatever our child has going on. Perhaps from those pictures you couldn't tell that Toby takes 17 medicines a day, spends one day every other week at the hospital hooked up to infusion pumps that are pumping intravenous medication into a port that he has his head surgically placed in his chest, that he has countless physicians at an out-of-town children's hospital, that he struggles daily with everything that he struggles with, but he does. And so he often feels different, is angry about what he has going on medically, is recognizing the difference between himself and the other children. There's a lot to cope with, a lot to deal with all of that. And so if we perhaps put some dolls in the dramatic play area, maybe that one that had a port, maybe if we had a doctor area set up occasionally in the dramatic play area, perhaps we could use puppets and our dollhouse for children with medical illnesses to be able to kind of work through how they're feeling about those things. That can be really valuable stuff for us as educators to kind of get a glimpse into how they're coping with things. And that doesn't just have to be a port. If you have a child in your classroom in the future that has glasses or that has leg braces or that has a G-tube or whatever, a hearing aid, you can use that strategy in your classroom. And I think I will suggest that in Toby's from doing this, from really thinking through about how I would like early childhood educators to deal with children with mitochondrial disease. Specific to mitochondrial disease, not just any illness, when we're thinking about this is an energy crisis in the body. So one really important thing, again, all of the treatments and management of the disease is listed in the paper posted on Blackboard, but conserving energy. Conserve energy balance, exercise or play for children with rest. So frequent breaks are necessary. Now, if you have a child in your classroom and they need to take a break, and heat intolerance is also a big deal. They need to cool off, they need a drink, they need a break. And we kind of scoot them aside and go on with class. They're going to feel really isolated. Perhaps we could make modifications in our class for everyone to kind of take a break or have a drink or move to a cooler area. Or say you're working in early intervention. If you unknowingly or unintentionally use that time to share some information with the parent or catch up on some paperwork and let the kid just kind of sit there for a minute, and we inadvertently send the message to the child that when you're done playing kind of physically, I'm done for a minute. We might send the message to the child that when they're done playing in that way, you're done interacting, and that could send the message to the child that they need to push themselves farther than they maybe are recognizing that their body should to keep our attention. So we should just be cautious of that. Also, when a child has an energy disorder and needs breaks, sometimes kids with medical things going on learn pretty quickly by the preschool years that they want to protect us. They don't want us to worry. They don't want us to have too many concerns about what's going on with them, and so they may not want to tell us that they need a break. They also might just be dealing with some really typical preschool or toddler age things about wanting to be in control. And so they might not want to choose a break. When we offer them a break, they might just say no because it feels good to be in control of something, especially when you have a very significant medical condition. They might be so motivated by the play or by playing with other children, they don't want to stop playing. And while that's a good thing that they're so motivated socially, children with mitochondrial disease really do need to be encouraged to take breaks, play in a cool area, stay cool, and have lots of drinks. So a strategy that we're going to implement in Toby's classroom after thinking through all of this for this presentation and paper is we are going to say to Toby from now on, instead of, do you need a break? Do you need a break? We are going to say, Toby, are you ready for a short break with a drink or a long break with a drink? And in that way, Toby can feel empowered to choose which type of break he's going to take. We're not asking him to tell us that he needs one. We're just asking him to choose. And no is not an option. So I really think that will be helpful for him. Other than that, offering support to the family by saying, hey, whatever I can do for you, you just let me know, and I'm here, and I'm really enjoying spending time with your child in the classroom. And again, I'd like to learn more, but you just let me know what I need, what you could ever need from me. Perhaps you may be in a role someday of linking other families with permission from each first, of course, about, say you have two children of similar diagnoses or have had, and they're a few years apart, and you perhaps could link those families together to find support. That could be really helpful. So anyway, I hope you have an understanding of what mitochondrial disease is and have a good understanding of some ways that you can take this information and use it in the classroom in the future. Thanks.